but seems like it's not. So we're starting in, let's wait maybe 1 or 2 moments. To communicate during the webinar, I usually like to use Discord. So go to the Discord room chat at the very bottom and yeah, just say hi. So maybe since this is new, people are not used to joining. I think you need to install something with Zoom if you have not already. So that could be an issue. Hope you all having a good week so far. You're enjoying the new courses. I also look forward to getting some feedback on the courses as you move through them. I would really like to hear from you. I'm always interested to improve the courses based on feedback. So hello, everyone. I'm excited to start this new journey here in the Trade Academy. I really look forward to this. I hope you can hear me. I think you should. Okay. Okay, perfect. Hello, Cloudy. All right, perfect. So usually I don't have an agenda for the webinars. We can take a look at markets. We can look at the markets that I'm looking at currently. If you have questions regarding a specific setup and a instrument, you can let me know in the chat as well. If you want me to go over a specific market that you have questions on, we can do that. If you have any trading related questions in general, questions regarding the course as well, I'm very, very happy to cater to you, whatever you would like to do. Otherwise, I can go over my charts. Euro British pound, yes, I flagged it as well. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting chart. The higher time frame is not super great because you can see when we are on the daily, we're trading here in this very narrow range, and the range is contracting, which means that you can see the lows are coming down. There's not a lot of room for movement here in the range. But if we go to the 30-minute or 1 hour, we can very nicely see we have the pivot point rejection. So the blue one, the thin one here is the daily pivot point. We are rejecting it as resistance, which is good. I mentioned it yesterday in the chat. This here is yesterday's high and yesterday's low. Oops, sorry. The thin lines here. And they are quite interesting to use for breakouts as well if it happens in the right context. Yesterday's highs and low are often used by many traders. So that's why I like to have it on my charts. And yeah, you can see it's interesting how the market is trading right now into the level. Here, the short-term support. We have lower highs, staying below the pivot, staying below the 30 EMA, breaking below yesterday's low. Oops. Obviously, right now it's still quite early. Europe is just getting started, so we should see some movement here now on the European Open, or in a moment on the European Open, Frankfurt and London. Yeah, so maybe break and retest will be quite interesting, but you don't have a lot of room. That's the issue that I see here, because you're immediately trading into those very, very key lows here of the long-term range. So you don't have a lot of room here to the downside. If you would get involved, your target should definitely be above this area here to avoid the additional risk factor. So that's the one thing that I don't like here, that I don't like too much. Also the narrowness of the range in general. But yeah, it's an interesting chart. EuroCAD also quite interesting. We are not quite here when we go to the daily. We're not quite here at this major resistance here. I would have loved to see the market move in this, but yeah, so be it. So we had a triple top here, then one breakout attempt, second breakout attempt, very weak high in general. A lot of weakness, although the market is still moving higher, don't forget that. We have a lot of weakness here in the market compared to how the market previously moved. If you've been in the course already at the distribution accumulation, you can see a long sideways phase is often not a sign of market strength, but could be a sign that the powers are shifting between the bulls and the bears. Especially interesting on this long-term chart. We had 2-3 bearish days already here. Not a lot of bearishness, but we broke below this low here, or this high rather. In the lower time frame, we have a very interesting pattern. This is a pattern that I really like to trade. You can see it here as well. Last week, the market was in an uptrend, retraced, then came back and made this lower bounce and then broke out right above here. Obviously, yesterday's high, which is this high, at a big level as well here. So kind of maybe like a cup and handle. You can see that. That's the cup, that's the handle. Really, really interesting. The thing that we don't have here is the strong uptrend that led up into the level. Here you can see we don't have the strong trend. We do have some trending, but it doesn't look super convincing. But overall, also really, really nice. Okay, yeah, we can do that in a moment. British pound, New Zealand, not on my, okay. I will draw it up in a moment. But yeah, what I would be looking at, you can see we are staying below the pivot now, here, here, and here. Very nice moving average structure as well. Pushing into the lows. We don't have a lot of weakness, not a lot of bearishness here. But a break and a retest would definitely be something that could make sense in this one as well. So EuroCAD and Euro British pound, very, very interesting for today. Yeah, British pound, New Zealand. Okay, I don't, okay, let's find it. This is probably lower than the 1 hour, maybe 15 minute. I don't see it. Ah, yeah, 15 minute. Yeah, so let's start on the higher time frame first. Yeah, there's probably some supply here on the left. Interesting here with the potential fake out that we have. Let's see, broke above this high. We don't have the fake out yet because this candle is still forming. So we just have yesterday's very strong candle. Weekly. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's this one. We want to fine tune it. Where the drop started here. This is where the drop started, right? Yeah, very precise. Yeah, we have this double, well, not a, yeah, kind of like a tweezer, not super high long, high wicks or long wicks. Okay, yeah, on the lower time frame, we definitely do have this break and retest. We see here high, high, lower high, lower high. Then suddenly we see the selling coming into the market. Yeah, we have the flag here now, right at the pivot, which is great. We're very early on in this bearish scenario. One thing that you will often see is you can see for the last 3 days, we tested the high and the high and the high. We have not come close to the low, which is a bullish signal. So we're still quite bullish, but I like the confluence. You can see we have the low previous support, maybe turning into resistance, flag here. Your entry. This is, oh, sorry. You got in really, really aggressive here. very early entry. So you got somewhere in here. Yeah, very aggressive entry, but you pretty much just try to call the high here after the, probably here you saw the move, then here you try to get in here after the market moved back into this high, something like that. Here's a flag, that's okay. Here's the flag that we are seeing now. Yeah, I think looks quite bearish overall, or at least on this short-term pattern. Long-term is quite bullish. Oops, here, somewhere up here. Probably somewhere up here. Or here. This would be so early. Yeah, it's quite early. At that point, you still had a very, very strong daily. Yeah, very aggressive. But yeah, you have a very good reward to risk ratio if this works out. So yeah, reward to risk ratio is quite decent if you're able to hold to the target and do this repeatedly. You only need a very, very low win rate. So yeah, interesting confluence. I feel now much more confident here after this pattern that we are seeing. Interesting, yeah. Quite aggressive though, but interesting. Another one that I have, I think someone else posted it as well. Euro US dollar, I'm not quite sure what to make out of this. The higher time frame, again, we are here in this range market. And by the way, for everybody who joined late, first of all, welcome. What I like to do during the webinars is go through the markets that I'm looking at, but also if you have questions around a specific market that you would like me to take a look at, or you have any other trading related question, maybe a question regarding the course or something else, then just jump in, use the chat at the bottom of the Discord channel, which is called just chat. And yeah, I'm very happy to answer any question that you may have. So we have this big range here. On the lower time frames, you can see that we have this head and shoulder here, then the first drop, very strong push here. So there's definitely some bearishness in the market. Now we have this long-term kind of a flag as well, huh? Here's a big level. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this one. I don't like this too much. There's just not too much room here. You have this big level underneath. So if you see the breakout, would you go in this knowing that you have the low here and here's something? Otherwise, here's the low of the range, which is also obviously possible. But I'm not sure I would feel more bearish than bullish on this. I think bullishness is quite strong still here. To the upside, we have this room here probably. Here's some supply. Here's obviously the top. Now, I'm not too sure about how I feel about this one. I've been following this for days now, quite a few days. British pound, Australian dollar. First, I was interested in trading maybe a potential fake out here, but then the market just kept on going higher and higher and higher. We have this trend line here, which I had drawn quite early on. This kept me out of any trouble. Interesting what you can see when we take a look at the daily high and low. So here on the bottom side, the daily lows, you can see that we almost never reached the lows, just once here and rejected it. So very, very strong bullish signal overall. A market that is not trading into yesterday's lows and always staying higher than yesterday's lows is very bullish. You would like to see for a long-term shift, the market being able to establish itself longer and trade outside of the bullish, of the bearish yesterday's low. But for now, you can see the market is still just moving higher and higher. I have the trend line here. I definitely would like to wait for the market to get below this area, which is 1837, for a more prolonged bearish or for a longer, more significant bearish market change signal. But overall, I really like this one. We don't have too much context here. You have this big push. But yeah, to reach this, we definitely need way more time, 188. For now, this is what we have, but the trend line and the last low keeps me out. So what I like to use is always those, you can call it insurance levels. So many traders have the problem is that they get in, if they want to look short such a market, they get in way too early. But having a point where the market really turns, for example, making a lower low or reaching yesterday's low and staying there, that is usually a much more significant signal. So those things will keep you out of entering shorts too early. Always wait for the market to make a new lower low, or in case of a bullish scenario, a higher high. Here, this one is quite interesting because here we have more higher time frame context. We have this low here from December. Here, this low, December high, not low, sorry. Not a lot of strength here. We are kind of struggling here. We broke out, but you can't see the market is not really able to follow through. Lower time frame, I really like this pattern. You can see the rounding here for now. Let me just move my price alert. I like to use price alerts quite a bit to just reduce the time I need to spend in front of the charts. So whenever alert comes up, I will get notified, obviously, and then I can take a look. Also, that way you don't miss as many trades if you are organized. Can see when we look at the pivots only. Can I turn this off? Can see the pivot structure. That's the daily pivot point. We are starting to roll into a bearish scenario where the pivots are moving lower. But obviously, as long as the market is trading here at the highs and above this low, there's no reason to even think about a short. You really need to wait until the market makes a lower low. Very, very important for those types of setups. Here we have quite some room to the downside, I think. Here's a significant low, and then here we have the daily 50. Yeah, EMA, which is this one. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. Probably much more than the Euro US dollar. Euro Aussie. Let's take a look. Weekly. Yeah, he has a lot of liquidity. Yeah, strong uptrend there yesterday, last week. We're struggling a little bit, but we are still trading at the highs, so not very bearish yet. But yeah, could be a fake out, but for now it still looks bullish. Yeah? Yeah, also great pattern here, great level that we can use. Yeah, decent. Let me add this to my list. Yep. Good one. US dollar CAD. I like this one quite a bit. Interesting pattern. We are seeing the breakout already. Oops, maybe 4 hours better. Quite a long range market could be here. The distribution after the uptrend. Yeah, break and retest maybe at the lows. The weekly pivot is up here. We will keep rejecting it, which was good. Yep. Also interesting, a little bit too early, but could be something maybe for, I want to definitely see a daily close below this area to get the full confirmation that we are moving below. You can see we had some crazy rejections here in the past. Very strong momentum here on the low side. So you definitely want to see the market take out the lows, but not too bad. I also look at silver. I like this level here. The market moved into a previous support, seems to be turning into resistance. The weekly pivot is just being broken to the downside. Lower time frame, we have this clear lower high structure here, the head and shoulders, significantly lower highs. For now, we have only rejected the lows. You can see when we look at the indicator here, yesterday low. There's no prolonged breakout through the low, which would be great. Maybe a breakout below the low to signal more bearishness and then a retest. That would be really ideal. Whenever you see the market just rejecting yesterday's lows, that's obviously not a very bearish signal. So yeah, let's see. I like this quite a bit. Can also put a price alert down here. 123 round number is here. Yeah, why not? And gold, not too sure. Also, we had the double top here earlier, end of last week. Then yesterday, pretty big move. Right here where this high is coming from. Yeah, the lower time frame I don't have as much now. We only have this one swing low here, the higher swing low. So we are still making higher lows, but we're seeing quite some bearishness in the market. So we have strong selling periods, which is definitely a shift from what we have seen in the past. The last big bearish wave was here, and this started then the downtrend here. So whenever you see a change in how the trend waves shape up, when you suddenly see, okay, we have a lot of strong selling pressure, which we have not seen in the past. We only had here on the way up only bullishness. That's definitely a change, obviously, in market structure. Also, don't forget, we have the big level here, 2000, big round number, always important. Yeah, interesting, but yeah, I think for now I would prefer silver over gold. And those are the most interesting markets that I'm watching currently. Does anybody have any other markets that you are watching or want some feedback on? Maybe do some analysis together. Or if you have any questions regarding the course, let me know as well. I know this is just the first webinar and we're just getting started. Probably most of you will just be stuck in the course as well. So take your time to go through the course. There's a lot waiting for you. In the future, I have a lot of plans to add more videos. I want to do at the end of the year a little bit of a mindset workshop. I used to do that with my previous mentoring group, where we do a maybe 2 or 3 months mindset, psychology, and trading as a business workshop online, which I really liked to do in the past. The people really enjoyed it in the past. So yeah, I definitely want to do that again. So there's a lot of cool things that I look forward to here in the Trade Academy now. But if you have always any feedback for during the course, I'm always very happy to hear, to listen, and to make changes or adjust or help. Anything else that you guys are watching today? Aussie, we have this flag on the daily, but Aussie yen. We did have the breakout, but the retest here never really took off. Let's take a look at Aussie yen. Hey, Michael, that's good to hear. Thank you. That's really cool to hear. And the goal with the Trade Academy course is that I want to add regularly to the course as well. I have a lot of videos on the list that I still want to do. So yeah, you can expect regular updates going forward. But I guess for now, people are still busy. I would be wondering if anybody could do the 80 videos in the first week. So I will give you some time to do the videos to get maybe further advanced in the course and then add more videos. But if there's anything you feel you want to get added, let me know. So big level, I guess Rogue Trader, that's probably what you're looking at. We also just made it below the lows. Crude oil, we can take a look at that in a moment. I like this pattern. I'm actually backtesting a similar pattern to this to make backtesting videos for the course. This is quite an interesting pattern when you can see a previous day. Then you have this lower bounce into the yesterday's high and then a breakout, which we have the pivot point rejection. This is actually a really, really interesting chart. Yeah, good lower time frame pattern. Really interesting. Yeah. Let me add this, then I can follow up on this one. J. Yeah, nice find. Good one. Definitely, we need a complete break above this. Very interesting. Yeah. Also with a break retest on the higher time frame down here. Good one. Nice find. Yeah. Let's take a look at. Yeah, I was looking at this as well. Here was already, I pointed this out, I think last week. The head and shoulder. No worry, Cloudy. Have a good one. Can see we had the breakout, and then here, this is never a good sign. A double top. After a double top, the chances of seeing here this to turn around are very, very slim. This is something that you will often notice around breakouts. You have the breakout, the retest, and then if the follow through results in a double top fake out, there's a very high chance that this will turn around. So one thing that probably would make sense to see retest, which is also interestingly here, the daily pivot. I guess that could be something, Michael. Is that what you're looking at? The problem is we're trading right back into this level here. I don't mind it. The problem I see with this big level, you don't have a lot of, the The problem is that you would be trading right into this. If you get the retest here, would you feel comfortable trading through this? That's probably here the big question. Huh? Of course, you cannot exclude all the negative confluence factors on a trade. There's always something that makes you wonder, but this is quite a big one. Yeah, not super nice. And since we don't have to trade this, I think it's better to just wait and see. There are much nicer ones. Yeah. Yeah, what are you gonna do? S&P, contracting market, a lot of uncertainty here. The DAX bounced here, previous resistance turned into support, but now we are kind of stuck here in this tiny area. Guess we need a catalyst. NASDAQ bounced off the highs. That's maybe quite interesting. The lower high here. Whoops. Lower high, lower bounce. That would be something, maybe the most interesting index. And here we're trading into this level, previous support. But yeah, I think that's also not super interesting. So the NASDAQ is probably the most interesting index for now. Bitcoin. That's quite interesting. The level that we are testing right now here, previous support. The market is struggling here below this. Lots of uncertainty in the market seems to be the case. Also, if you would like to trade this, then you're immediately right at where you can expect more support at 25,000. Yeah, some big levels. And crypto loves its round numbers. Yeah. News-wise, where's my? We don't have too much. We have consumer confidence, then CPI out of Australia. Nothing too big. Maybe GDP, unemployment. Yeah, this week at least. Take care, Rob. No big news this week at least. So yeah, the news calendar is definitely not in the way this week. Anything else? Questions in general? There is a question waiting in the questions chat. The plan and what I did in the past is usually in my last mentoring group is that I collect a few questions here in the questions channel, and then I will make a separate video going through all of the questions, maybe going through 5-6 questions at a time, and record a separate video and then provide it online for you as well. That's what I found in the past quite helpful. So then over time, we have a nice question archive that you can go through as well. And you can be very certain if you have a question, there are other people who also have the same question. So don't worry, just ask the question whenever you have one. We are all here to learn. Oops. Here. Yeah, that's the plan. All right. And what I plan to do is make this a weekly thing, the webinars. Next week, I will be probably not able to do this. Maybe midweek and the beginning of the week, I'm traveling. So maybe we have to do it on Wednesday or Thursday, but afterwards, then the plan is to do this as a weekly thing, the webinar, so that we can catch up every week at least and check in. After a while, I think when people go through the calls, have more questions, then I think this will also be a little bit more active, and then I can provide more help to the specific things that you are currently dealing with in your trading or in the course. So yeah, probably can expect weekly webinars going forward. Awesome. Okay. So if there are no more questions, I don't want to waste your time. I'm happy to answer questions, but if there are no more, then I would say we see each other next week. I'm always available in Discord, so whenever something comes up, let me know. And then, I look forward to chatting with you again next week. And I'm really looking forward to this new Trade Academy journey. I haven't done mentoring, I think, for almost, for close to half a year. And I look forward to starting the new group here. So thank you for being part of this group. And reach out to me in Discord whenever something comes up. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye, everyone. And thank you for your time.